The call came in just after midnight. 911, what's your emergency? A panicked voice on the other end of the line, barely coherent. It's not a bear, it's standing, tall, watching me from the tree line. Please send someone. It's not human. The dispatcher paused, thinking it was another prank call, until the line cut out, followed by a strange guttural growl that stayed echoing in her headset. The location, a secluded cabin near Mount Hood National Forest, Oregon. Fire Station 42 was closest to the area. They were often called in for backwoods medical emergencies or the occasional wild animal intrusion, but this one felt different. Firefighter Eric Dawson and his partner, Luis Romero, were dispatched at 12:19 a.m. The radio crackled with static as they drove deeper into the forest. Cell service dropped off. The only lights came from their engine's beams cutting through the fog. When they arrived at the cabin, the door was wide open. No sign of forced entry, no one inside. Just scratch marks, deep ones, along the wooden door frame about 8 feet high. Romero called it in. Possible missing person, no signs of struggle, requesting backup. Then came the sound, a low, resonant grunt from the woods behind them, the kind of sound that makes every hair on your body stand on end. Dawson turned, flashlight shaking in his grip. 2 glowing amber eyes were reflecting the light, high up, too high. He took a step forward. The creature, or whatever it was, stepped back, disappearing behind thick pine trees. The underbrush crunched under something massive. Then silence. Dawson, against protocol, followed the trail alone, radio in hand. Romero stayed behind, sweeping the perimeter. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Dawson, report. Nothing. Eric, do you copy? More static. By the time the search team arrived an hour later, Dawson was found sitting at the base of a tree, wide-eyed and shivering. He didn't say a word for 2 days. When he finally did speak, his first words were, "It wasn't a bear. It knew I was afraid, and it liked it." The morning after Dawson was found, Fire Station 42 was placed under an unofficial lockdown. No press, no reports. The chief's words were firm. This doesn't leave this station. But Luis Romero couldn't shake what he'd seen, or what he hadn't. Dawson was one of the toughest guys he knew. Iraq veteran, calm under pressure, and yet in those woods, something broke him. Later that afternoon, Romero and 2 search and rescue officers returned to the scene, hoping daylight would provide clarity. It didn't. They found the trail Dawson had followed, flattened brush, snapped limbs, and something else. A footprint, clear as day, nearly 22 inches long, sunk inches into the soft mud. 5 toes, no shoe, no claws, no known animal. Romero squatted beside it, measuring it with his gloved hand. "This wasn't made by a hoaxer," one officer muttered. "Too deep. Whatever made this weighs at least 400 pounds. They followed the tracks deeper into the forest. At first, they moved in a straight line, like a man's gait, then suddenly turned sharply and vanished. No continuation, no broken branches, as if the creature had simply lifted off the ground. That night, Romero reviewed his helmet cam footage, but the file wouldn't open. Corrupted, just static. Frustrated, he pulled out his phone to check the photo he'd taken of the footprint. It was gone, not deleted, just missing. The folder it was saved in had been wiped clean. The next day, a man in a black government SUV appeared at the station. No badge, no agency name. He asked for Dawson's report. When informed there wasn't one yet, he nodded, gave a forced smile, and left a business card with nothing but a phone number. Romero called it later that night. It rang once, then disconnected. Meanwhile, Dawson remained distant. He refused to discuss what he saw, but he began sketching in his notepad. Over and over, eyes, glowing amber eyes, watching from behind trees. On the 5th day, the sketch changed. It now showed a large figure, hunched with long arms and matted hair, towering above Dawson's tiny figure in the forest clearing. And on the bottom, a single word: "It's watching." 3 weeks passed. The case had gone quiet. Too quiet. No news, no follow-up. No trace of the missing man from the cabin. But at Fire Station 42, the unease never left. Eric Dawson hadn't returned to duty. He stayed home, curtains drawn, barely sleeping. Romero checked on him daily, but the man was a ghost. Then came the knock. It was early morning when 2 men arrived at the station. Suits, no badges, no names. One tall, built like a linebacker. The other smaller, colder, calculating. They asked to speak with Romero in private. What followed felt more like an interrogation than a debriefing. Describe everything you saw. Were there photographs? Did Dawson mention the creature's behavior? Any vocalizations? Romero's stomach twisted. They weren't asking normal questions. These men weren't from any fire department, and they weren't law enforcement. He answered vaguely, deliberately omitting the footprint in the missing images. But the smaller man seemed to know anyway. "You took a picture of the track, didn't you?" Romero didn't respond. The man leaned forward, voice lower now. "This isn't what you think it is. You want to keep your job, you'll stop digging. People have vanished for less." With that, they left. No paperwork, no trace of the meeting ever happening. Later that afternoon, Romero received a call from Dawson's sister. Eric had gone missing. His phone left behind. Apartment door unlocked. Not a single clue. Romero drove straight there. The apartment was freezing cold. AC unit running full blast despite it being October. On the coffee table sat Eric's notebook, open to a final page. This time, the sketch showed multiple creatures, all tall, all watching from the shadows. And in the center, a dark SUV, headlights glowing. At the top, written in shaky handwriting, "They're not hunting it, they're protecting it." Romero took the notebook and left. Back at the station, he stored it in his locker behind a false panel. Something in his gut told him someone would come looking for it. And he was right. That night, the station's security system recorded a break-in. 2 men dressed in black, searching lockers one by one, but the footage cut out as they reached Romero's. The timestamp on the last frame, 3:33 a.m. Romero didn't sleep that night. He watched the grainy footage of the break-in over and over again, memorizing every frame. The faces of the intruders never showed, but one detail chilled him. The taller one had a patch on his sleeve, a faded emblem. U.S. Department of Forestry. But why would forestry agents break into a firehouse at 3:33 a.m.? The next day, Romero made a call to a retired firefighter named Dennis Keller, who had served at Fire Station 42 in the early 70s. Dennis was a legend in the area, tough, no nonsense, and known for being the guy who saw too much. Most wrote off his stories as the ramblings of an old man, but now Romero wasn't so sure. Dennis agreed to meet in person. They sat in a diner just outside of Hood River. As soon as Romero mentioned 22-inch footprints, Dennis's expression changed. He leaned in. 1972, same woods. We got a call, family camping deep near Lolo Pass. The father went missing. We found the tent shredded, like it had been hit by a truck. No blood, just a stench in the air, like wet fur and rotting meat. Romero sat motionless. We followed tracks, big ones. They led us to a cave system under the ridge, and that's when we heard it, a roar so deep it made our bones shake. Dennis paused, looking out the window. They shut us down the next day. 2 men in suits showed up, took our gear, made us sign paperwork, threatened our pensions, told us it was a wild bear incident, and if we said otherwise, we'd be violating national security. Romero blinked. National security? Dennis nodded slowly. They're not trying to catch it. They're trying to contain it, like a biohazard they can't destroy. I've always believed there's more than one. Back at home, Romero flipped through Eric's final sketches again. He noticed something strange. On one of the pages, the creature's eyes weren't just amber. They had a shape, a distinct oval with 3 vertical slits. He'd seen that before. On Dennis's jacket patch, an old discontinued forestry emblem from the 70s. It had the same triple slit eye at the center. The symbol wasn't just decoration, it was a warning. The forest seemed quieter than usual that day. Romero joined a weekend search operation for a group of missing scouts who had failed to return from an overnight hike near Timberline Trail, an area dangerously close to the location of the original cabin call. Fog rolled in thick, wrapping trees in ghostly layers of white. At 7:13 a.m., the call came in. "We've got movement on the ridge. Could be the boys." Romero and 2 other firefighters hiked in, radios crackling. Visibility dropped to less than 20 feet. The air felt charged, as if static clung to every leaf. Then footsteps, not their own, heavy, deliberate, behind them. They spun around, light slicing the mist. Nothing. Until a branch snapped to their left, then another, something circling them. Too quiet for its size. Romero raised his flare gun, finger trembling. "We're not alone," he whispered. Then in the distance, voices, high-pitched. The boys. They found the scouts huddled in a cave mouth, shivering and wide-eyed, no injuries. But their stories didn't make sense. One of the boys, Jacob, kept repeating the same line. "It talked to us, in our heads." The youngest, Eli, described glowing eyes watching them all night. It didn't move. It just stared. It was like it was waiting for something. Romero asked if they heard it growl. "No," said Jacob. "It hummed." As they hiked back, Romero recorded the area with a thermal imaging cam. Halfway down the ridge, the screen glitched, then captured a figure. Large, upright, heat signature consistent with a living body. It stood perfectly still just beyond the tree line, watching them. Romero saved the footage to 2 devices, one for the authorities, one hidden in his apartment. The next night, something returned. At exactly 3:33 a.m., Romero's power cut out. Total silence. He grabbed his flashlight and checked the windows. That's when he heard it. A hum, deep and vibrating, not from outside but inside his head, like a tuning fork struck too close to the brain. The streetlights flickered, shadows shifted in unnatural ways. He stepped outside, heart pounding, and there, in the fog across the road, stood the silhouette. Tall, still, watching. The hum grew louder. Romero blinked, and it was gone. He checked his phone. New message, no number. Just a single line. "You were warned." 3 days passed. Romero left town, staying in motels under fake names. Every night he'd wake at 3:33 a.m. No alarm, no reason. Just that time burned into his subconscious. He started keeping the thermal cam beside his bed, locked and wrapped in foil. Paranoia was no longer a feeling. It was protocol. Then it happened. An unmarked envelope appeared at the front desk of his motel. No return address, just his name in block letters. Inside, a single SD card and a handwritten note. "He kept it hidden for 20 years. Now it's yours. If I disappear, don't come looking." Romero loaded the SD card onto his laptop. What he saw changed everything. Grainy footage dated August 19th, 1994. A firefighter's body cam, rain hammering down. The location, Mount Hood. A team of 3 moving through dense brush, clearly panicked. One is shouting, "It's right behind us!" Then, static. The camera cuts to black, then returns. The frame jerks wildly. There it is. A massive figure moves between trees, blurred but real. Long arms, hair matted. No sound except for the rapid breathing of the man holding the camera. Then it turns, and for one clear second, its face is visible. Not ape, not man, something in between, intelligent, calculating, and not surprised to be seen. The feed cuts again. When it returns, a different scene. A warehouse. Inside, two men in suits standing beside a steel containment pod. Something is moving inside, heavy, aggressive. One man speaks directly into the camera. Subject 7 was recovered last night. Protocol 8 engaged. Witnesses neutralized. We maintain the illusion. The species must not be revealed. Romero froze. This wasn't just folklore. This was an operation, a conspiracy with decades of cover-ups, suppression, and fear. He backed up the file, encrypted it, and sent it to 3 trusted sources, with one instruction: if I go missing, release everything. That night he returned to his apartment. Everything seemed normal until he noticed the notebook was gone. No sign of a break-in, just absence, like it had never existed. At 3:33 a.m., his phone lit up. A new message, video file. He opened it. It was a live feed from his front door, and in the grainy image was a tall, still figure standing in the shadows, amber eyes glowing, watching. Then the screen went black. Thanks for watching Brave Sparks. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us bring you more powerful and inspiring stories. Stay brave, and we'll see you in the next one.